College basketball heat check. We're back. We got a great guest on today. Another heat check has won four in a row out from the East Coast. New head coach Speedy Claxton. We don't have him on, but we have his right hand man. Excited to bring in the one and only Coach Serge. Let's go.
How we,
What up?
how we doing, fellas? What's going on, guys?
We're good.
Appreciate
We're
you
good,
having me
man.
on.
We're good. Welcome. It's East Coast. How's the East Coast treating you, man? What's good out there?
It's all good on this side, man. Just I'm a little bit south right now, more towards the DMV, doing some recruiting, but all is
Yeah.
good, man.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So four in a row. We'll get straight to it. We'll get the other fun stuff later. Four in a row. We know early on, first game of the year. I'm talking to Serge on the road. You're like, man, we might have a chance against Houston. Like, we got some talent. And I'm like, man, you don't know going into Houston. Lo and behold, you guys take them to overtime. Had some chances to win it. Had Maryland on the ropes, and then has led to, in my opinion, you guys maybe learning how to close those games with so many new guys and new coach, new staff. What's it like in this last four games? What's it been like?
Just to see these guys grow has been very pleasing because there's little things that easily for the Maryland game we came in with a point of emphasis on playing off 2 feet. Houston
Yeah.
game, first game of the year, playing off 2 feet. Now, as we're going through this little streak, guys are playing off more 2 feet and seeing that, okay, by playing off 2 feet, I won't turn it over, but also I can help find my teammate for a relocation or just being able to make a better decision. And those are the little things. That's just a sheer example of
Right.
something that's helped us, and the buy-in that's going on right now. And
Yeah.
winning is contagious. When things work, they tend to want to go use it again and do it again, and that's just how kids are, and then that's how we continue to keep continuity on and aiming towards winning, continue this winning streak.
Yeah, that's that believe in, that buy in. What has it been like working for, I mean, a legend at Hofstra, but really a legend, really, period, when it comes to this game? To do what he did in college, then go on to the Spurs and have so much success in the league. You sound like a head coach yourself right now, talking about the team and how they gotten better. What has it been like working with such a great person, such a great ball player, and now showing he's a great head coach too?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head with everything. Great person, good ball player, and even like I said, like and a great coach, and he's improving every day. And it's like one of those things where when you transitioning into from an assistant to a head coach, the work as an assistant doesn't change when you turn into a head coach, and he's staying in the trenches, and that's the one thing that I can admire, and we all can appreciate as a staff as it relates to Speedy Claxton. He's in the trenches with us, and he's doing the work, and he's putting in the long hours, and he has a demeanor about him which the guys really like, and it's laid back, and it's not an approach that's overbearing. It's just one of those things where guys can really relate to him, and it's actually been a great experience just being around him every day and seeing how he approaches every day. And it starts with just being balanced.
One of the things that kind of stands out to me about Hofstra heading into the season is you guys didn't shy away from any of these non-conference opponents, and I think a lot of coaches and staffs in their first year, they might want to ease into things and try to pick up some wins in the early going, but to open at Houston, a game you nearly won, also going on the road, taking on Iona, Maryland, Richmond, upcoming game against Arkansas. What went into the thought process here of maybe showing that we're ready to compete, and maybe how did the players react to going into some of these tough environments?
It was part of the thing when Speedy took the job, and we didn't want to treat this as just a mid-major. That's the one thing that he went in with, and by doing that, you can recruit at a high level. And being who he is, the pedigree that he has, he can attract certain kids, and that's what we did, and that's what he did, and he's attract some pretty high-level guys that's been established on the college ranks already. And then when you're walking into these type of environments with that type of experience, it's really no letdown. Um, so that's the one thing that he made sure that he would do when he get the job, is to have a balanced schedule, but more or less a challenging schedule to get you ready for the conference play. So there's no loss of translation when you get into that grind during the year. Like, okay, we've been through this, we've experienced this. it's one of those things that you have to challenge yourself. And right now we're at the tail end of our bulk of our schedule. Now we're seeing who we really can be, and there's still room for growth.
And there's, as you said, there's a lot of experience on this roster, plenty of upperclassmen, seniors that are taking on major roles. What has the buy-in been like? What's the culture been like? And how have these guys been able to form a camaraderie on this year's team?
You know what? You knew things were good, headed in the right direction when the players' locker room, when after we lost Houston, they put the ownership on themselves. The coaches had nothing to say. It was more or less the guys. They took it on themselves. And then when we came back and beat Duquesne, a pretty good A-10 team, a solid A-10 team, and they won it on the road. It's all player driven. It's player centric, and the coaches are there to give guidance and give a rubric and the blueprint. But at the end of the day, there's no blueprint without buy-in. If you can't get your guys to buy into the blueprint, then it's all a moot point. So it's really been the guys, man. The guys build the culture. We could lay the foundation, but if the guys don't believe in and buy into what we're saying and the culture, then we have nothing. And these guys, it's all on the players. The players have done it, and obviously with the great leadership from the top.
And in terms of this overhaul, and when Speedy came in, and when you came in with these assistants as well, is there something in particular that you as a staff wanted to really establish, whether it's on the court or off the court? Is there something in particular that you really wanted to establish and make sure your players understood heading into the season?
Well, you know what? When I came in and Coach Claxton hired Coach DePaoli and Coach Parada, Coach DePaoli runs our defense, and he's done an exceptional job at implementing that pit bull mentality. And he's done it to a point where all our guys understand that we don't accept any excuses on the defensive end, even though we can put up points on the board in a hurry. But without defense and buy-in, there will be nights where you won't score 100 points. And that's where we're trying to teach our guys in terms of like, hey, man, you may not score 100 points tonight, but you got to be able to defend down the court and hold guys to certain percentages and not let them hit their mark. But I think when Coach hired Coach Parada, especially Coach DePaoli, and implemented that culture of toughness and that pit bull mentality, all our guys, Leo, loud, early, and often, that mentality has to take place in our locker room and shaped our locker room to how we're playing on the defensive end.
And you mentioned the culture and the buy-in of this program. Are there any particular players on this year's roster who have kind of embodied a sort of leadership role? Or, I mean, there's a lot of experience on this roster, so I imagine there are at least a handful of guys who stand out to you as a staff.
Yeah, we have Zach Cooks, transferred in from NJIT, who averaged, I think, 18.5 points at NJIT, 1,800 point score over the course of 4 years. Then you have Aaron Estrada transfer in from Oregon, St. Peter's, then Oregon, and now he's with us. Those guys pretty much, set precedent in the locker room. When you see your best players doing it every day, then everyone else follows. And those guys have been absolutely phenomenal. And they're really good players on top of that as well.
And in terms of just looking at the conference at large, CAA's had a pretty successful non-conference slate so far. What do you take away, or what would you want people to know about this conference, and why might it be possibly overlooked compared to the rest of the country?
Well, just getting in depth with the CAA, it looks like there's just a variety of talent all across the board. Just looking at the scores, I think we can compete at the maybe one day get a double bid, another bid. Who knows? That's kind of out of our control. But the only thing that I know in regard to the CAA from what I've been experiencing is seeing these physical, tough teams, scoring teams as well. I think you get a blend of a little bit of everything in the CAA, and as you can see with us, you're getting a little bit of everything as well. So if you want a team that definitely could provide entertainment and definitely could get some points on the board and defend, yes, you definitely want to look at us and some other teams in the CAA as well.
Yeah, it looks like Estrada, Player of the Week, recognized by a couple of different publications. Talk a little about what it's been like to gel these guys, and then what makes those particular guys so unique that he's able to get an award like that.
You know what? You know, players, good players want to play with good players,
Right.
you know, and if you don't want to play with other good players, then it makes you question your love for the game and do you really want to win? That's what really attracted Aaron Estrada to come to Hofstra University and more or less to play for a legendary coach and former player Speedy Claxton and also Zach Cooks.
Right.
I mean, they good player, and
Right.
they knew. It's like and during the whole recruiting process, they all knew each other, and they're like, wow, they're established at this university, and we're all going to come to one place.
Right.
And it's going to be a movie, and that's how these guys, you know, obviously social media, Twitter, and all the other media outlets where guys communicate,
Right.
and they all know each other, and winning breeds winning, and
Yep.
and that's all that happened, man. These guys, once they step into the locker room, they want to be winners.
No doubt. No doubt. Has Coach got on the floor yet and had to show him a little something? Has there been a moment yet? I know there's been a moment. Like he's like, yeah, don't test me now. I still got it. Like, what's that moment been like?
Man, I don't want to talk about his bad knees, man. Yeah, he's gonna kill me. But no, he really had. Like the great thing about Coach is like you don't. What does he have to prove? Like,
he doesn't have to check the resume. Google me.
Check the resume. Yeah, just do one of those. Like
Google me.
He don't have to. He doesn't have to shoot a ball. He doesn't have to do anything. It's just instant respect, man. He's done it. And you know, when these kids in the landscape now where kids are shooting too high and you know, not going where they're really wanted.
Right.
He's a perfect example of, you know, going somewhere where you wanted and made yourself into a legend. And
no doubt. Is the so talk about the upcoming schedule. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then what's I guess the biggest thing is what's success for year one for Coach Claxton? I know it's everyone wants to go to the tournament, everyone wants to win a championship. So you want to shoot as high as you can and do that. And this team has enough ability to be able to get high in March and make some magic things happen. What will you walk away from this season and be like, you know what, this was a successful year one? What would that look like, you think?
Just establishing a recruiting base and really, you know, Coach Claxton had a way he wanted to play, and it's all coming together now. After year one, we just want to reassess the talent that we have and see where we can plug in guys and get more talent in certain areas. We just want to stockpile and accumulate a great amount of talent to where we can be sustainable. And that's the thing with this landscape. It doesn't create a lot of, you know, what the word I'm looking for is more or less continuity with this landscape. We want to try to keep some continuity and bring in that level of talent to where next year it's no drop off. The year after that, it's no drop off. And then for the foreseeable future, it's no drop off. And after year one, we just need to continue to keep that base of where we know where we need to, where our recruiting base can be in order to foresee that continuity.
Yeah, and even beyond that, I think with the addition of Cooks and Estrada in the offseason and their immediate contributions to this program, despite coming over as transfers, what would you say that has looked like in taking these noteworthy transfers and having them buy in and you know, commit to this team and have these substantial roles on the roster?
You know, that comes with the greatness of the head coach and the assistants, where we can be whisperers, where we can put talent together, and then if it hits, you know, then you're an instant success. But if it doesn't hit, then you know the rest. Mm-hmm. And it's up to our job to really dissect character and see how you can put the puzzle together, because ultimately, yes, we want talent, but there's certain talents that don't mesh. That's the reality of it. And a lot of it comes, you can have great talent, but if your talent are not good people, it could end up backfiring. So that's where we're very cognizant of when we're recruiting our grad transfers, prior history of relationships, AAU guys. It's even though it's 1 year guys or transfers, we're making sure that we're in depth with the background, because you can't just pluck anybody from the transfer portal.
No doubt.
So you got to really be cognizant of that, and they have to be the right fit for your institution as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, the transfer portal makes it where getting a job in year one, you can actually recruit late and still get superior impact level talent. And if you can get the right character and get the right mesh pieces, you guys can be in a situation like you guys are now. Tell us some of the funny behind the scenes, man. If you got a funny stories for us behind the scenes, what you got for us over there, man? I know you got something good.
Man, I don't know if I could tell my funny stories, man. I don't know, man. So that it's internal.
All right, you got to give a Serge funny story then from your career, either playing or coaching. You got to give us something funny from your career. You forgot your shoes one time. You had to play in some pink slippers, and give us something.
I think I might have hit you with the couple years ago when I had these tight pants, and I tried to squat and ripped right in the middle of the game.
You're not the only one that's ever happened to that. We've heard this story before.
Check this out though. It ripped in the middle of the game, and I sat down the whole game.
So until the game was over, you got to play a good game. People didn't know.
You know how when you walk when you got a little wedgie or something like that's kind of how I was walking on the handshake line. I was walking like that. How'd you
do the full timeouts? How'd you do those?
Man, listen, I just slid over.
Bring the chair with you.
Another one I have. I just think about it because CIT championship. We're playing Furman at St. Peter's years ago.
Yeah,
and I forgot my suit pants.
Yeah,
at home.
I heard one of these. Tell us how it ended.
I ended up borrowing the equipment manager's jeans that looked like slacks. Wow. And I had some brown shoes. I thought I was in the Midwest with some cowboy pants and
oh, that's glad. Did you win the game? That's the question.
Yes, we won.
That's always the best. Then you can laugh about it.
Man, it was like color-coded jeans with like a drawstring belt.
He happened to be the right size.
That's another game I sat down as well.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. We'll let you go in just a little bit. What's something you would want people to know about Hofstra, Coach Claxton, that maybe they don't know? I mean, we know how this thing is. It's hard to get some of the narratives out there that you would want to have, and people have their own outside opinions, or people just don't know. So what would you want people to know if you had to say about Hofstra or Coach Claxton or both?
Well, I'd say Hofstra is a really profound university in the middle of Long Island, New York, Hempstead, New York, Borders, Queens. Really about an enrollment of 11,000. Really, really good institution, big on communication. But I don't want to get into the sales pitch of the university right now. So, but just a good place to be. Great place, a family atmosphere. But also, one thing that you need to know is when you're playing for a coach like Speedy Claxton, and just working for a guy like Speedy Claxton, it's no pressure in terms of just being who you are. And I think when you come in as a player, a lot of kids and a lot of student athletes complain about coaches not letting me play my game. If it's your game, Speedy Claxton will let you play it, but within the confines of our rules. So that's one thing that you should know about Speedy Claxton, and that's how we're going to be able to get some high level talent.
I love it. Eli, I'll let you close it out, and then we'll let Mr. Serge get on to his recruiting and keep bringing in the high level talent he's been doing.
Yeah, it's a good recruiting pitch to me. I'm on board. From here on out, what you've gathered with this team, and you had the close calls against Houston and Maryland, and obviously before we hopped on, it's like you wish those were games you had back, of course. But what do you take from that? What have you taken from the team so far, and what's the focus now moving forward, and as we kind of enter the second season into conference play?
It's really just incremental growth. As you can see, and the beauty of a season is, and then at the end of the year, everyone's hugging each other and they're getting emotional when the season's over. It's because you went through the pain early on. You went through the struggle early on. And right now, yes, we're winning games, but there's still things that we can be a whole lot better. We still feel like we haven't scratched the surface yet. And that's the thing with this team. And that's just the thing in basketball in general. when you're building a team. I think there's so much growth, and as we come through the latter parts of the non-conference season right now, we want to continue to grow in the little things, and then hopefully by the time when we get into conference play, all right, we figured some things out and continue to grow in other areas. There's never a perfect team. There's always things to work on, and I think as this team continues to go, we just want to focus on incremental growth in little areas that we deem that needs to be improved on, and I think that's where the direction that we're headed to right now, with just little incremental growth in every little thing.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, Serge, we'll let you get back to it. Great luck the rest of the way. I'm sure you'll be keeping it hot. We got the heat check, 4 in a row, Hofstra pride in the building. Serge, thanks, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Heat check. Keep us heating tomorrow, man. Please. Please.
Keep it hot. Keep it hot.
Thank you, B.
Serge.
Appreciate you, Coach.
As always, we'd like to have Eli close the show. What you got for us, Eli?
Yeah, it's a really good perspective from Serge, and Hofstra's they're going to be one of these teams that is going to be slightly under the radar, as typical CAA teams are. And then we look up in March and they're right there. They're competing for a tournament bid, or they're placed in the brackets in March. And I think this league has been very underrated in terms of producing teams that are capable of winning games in March. And Hofstra has high caliber guys. The basis of these players that they've had, transfers coming in. We didn't even mention Jalen Ray on this show, who we've had several articles written about him on Heat Check already this season, and just the skill set he has as a scorer. It's a very strong offensive team that can put up points in a hurry, and I think they still have room to grow on the defensive side, as Serge said. So it's going to be a tough out playing Hofstra. Going to be one of the top teams in the CAA, and when you do that, when you have a chance to compete for a tournament bid, then kind of the sky is the limit from there.
No doubt, no doubt. And Coach Claxton, we love to see the success in year one. Such a great hire to be able to bring back someone who's going to have that ownership and pride in the university. And then, he's hired a great staff. Serge obviously mentioned the other guys on staff. Serge has built a reputation as being one of the best at what he does in the country, and that's why he's there. And he's going to continue to do big things behind the scenes to make things happen. So excited we had to have him on, and watch out for the Hofstra Pride, and look for more Heat Check, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You know where to find us. Look forward to more soon.